Welcome back to Luna Galaxy and welcome back to our next most recent speed build, which actually coming up in the next couple of posts, the next couple of weeks, I'm going to have a lot of new content. I know I've been kind of pushing, trying to get the lives over from TikTok. I've been posting up 3 of those a week, and I kind of feel like, I don't know, like I like that I'm posting them, but I also miss doing just normal gameplay content. So I might post a couple a month and then just do a catch up, and then you'll just have to hopefully catch the live streams. But I hope everyone's doing fantastic. One thing that this is the first time I am doing, this is the first time since I only had base game that I am doing a base game build. This is all completely base game. I didn't use any of the packs from any of the Sims DLCs, so it was a very, very hard thing for me to do, simply because I didn't realize how much stuff that I barely touched that was base game. Or when I went to go grab something, I was like, oh crap, that's not base game. So this was actually very difficult for me. As small as this house is, I'm glad that I stuck with a small house and did not try and go bigger like I normally do. So it is a 1 bedroom, 1 bath, open floor of a living room, dining room, and a kitchen. So I did keep it a smaller scale because I had to constantly pay attention to my filter turning off to where I just wanted to show maxes. Anytime I like click something, it would change it back, and I had to catch myself. And that was probably the hardest thing. But the idea that I wanted to do, I kind of was inspired by a Craftsman style house. Now you can argue that this isn't a Craftsman's house, but I was inspired by how the roofing was and the color context of what the house was, the picture that I was looking off of. And of course I forgot to save it, so sorry. I don't have the original picture there, but I did want to try utilizing and doing some different things. I tried a little different concept I had here, where I wanted to build the house as it had like its own flower box, and I wanted to do it on both sides, but I wanted to keep the poles there, but it just wasn't working how I wanted it to. So I ended up just doing one side and I put it, like I said, I put this on a smaller lot because I wanted to see how difficult this was going to be for me. So I didn't want to give myself a lot of room to freak out about. So I did put this on a smaller lot in Willow Creek, I believe. Yes, in Willow Creek. And so it worked out perfectly. So I feel like this could be a nice base game house, starter house for you. It is actually pretty full for a base game house. Like, I found enough stuff that I was able to fill it in, I feel, comfortably. But enough to where it wasn't naked and bare. I feel like you have enough to start off with a beginner sim. And stuff like that. I did not pay attention to the price of what I was using. So next time I do a base game house, I will keep it under probably like 10K or 20K. I'll probably do 2 different ones. But I wanted to do this because I remember I was live and someone had asked me, they're like, do you have base game only houses? I don't have any kits or packs, and I don't know if I'll ever get any. And so I was like, you know what? I haven't done a base game yet, and I should really get comfortable into doing those to offer. Because like I've always said, I like to make a lot of my builds no CC, because I know there are people that are on console and people that you just don't want CC, and I feel like that's not fair. But at the same time, I know there's people out there that don't have any of the DLC, so I'm hoping I can incorporate more of just base game items. And now that I know how little of base game items there are, I won't be as shocked when I go into this build. One thing that I really did utilize is I did try to utilize a lot of debug, because debug actually that has a lot of free stuff, so you don't get charged for a lot of the things that are in the lot. So when I do my 10K and 20K base game builds, that is the goal that I'm going to go for, to use a lot of debug, especially when you're doing landscaping. A lot of that can play a factor in your price range, because some of those plants are like ridiculously high, and so that goes into the cost of your lot and what you're buying for. Which, you know, kind of makes sense. I will say this, like, I do end up really enjoying and loving the front of this house. It turned out a lot better than what I thought it was going to be, even with it being such a small lot, and I tried to do something different, especially in how I ended up making this like front flower box. I don't know what what hit me to do that, I think in the original picture it was actually like a molding that went through the center, like that center part of the house, and it was a white strip, and I didn't really have any wallpaper that would do that, or like siding. So I decided, I'm like, you know what if we just pull this wall out and make it a flower box, and then it just kind of gives it a little bit more detail up front. But that's what I went ahead and would do with that. And then once I did it, I was like, oh, you know, this is really cute. This might be something that I may incorporate in some other builds. One thing I like about this lot is that this grass is naturally like landscaped, like textured. Like you can tell like the grass is kind of already like burnt down. It has some traction to it compared to the other lots. I've never realized that are always green. They're just straight green, and no grass is just straight green unless you put a little too much work into it. So I didn't do a lot of touch on the texture of the grass because I actually liked how it was. I did a couple things here and there. I don't know what I was thinking when I went into this house, because what I did on the outside, I didn't raise it up to where it had I can't think of the word I'm thinking of. The bottom portion of the house. I'm having a really brain fart. I've been sick for the like past 4 days. As you can, if you can't tell in my voice, so my brain capacity just isn't here. But when I did the porch, I raised the porch, but I didn't raise the house. So it technically has a platform. So in the inside, I just added stairs, and I could have like raised up the platform in the house, but for some reason, I was like, you know what? I actually liked these stairs in the house. I don't know why, but I just did. But once after I did it, I was like, you know, all I had to do was raise the inside of the house platform up, and I did it. But I don't know, it gives it another little detail in the house. Like I don't know, it's probably not that big of a deal, but I made it a big deal apparently. But as we get into the house, I struggled a lot because I didn't want this house to feel very like I didn't want it to feel or be like a super expensive house. I kind of wanted it to be like one of those houses, like it is a lower budget house, but I kind of want it to be an older house, so it doesn't really have the flashy new items, you know, so I didn't really go with how I normally would go, to where I wanted to look really fancy and really, you know what I mean? I don't know if that's coming off the right way or not, but I feel like I know what I'm trying to say, but I don't know if it's coming off the right way. But yeah, I went in, and I don't know why, but this is like one of the best bathrooms that I feel like I like. I normally don't like doing bathrooms. I don't know what it is with bathrooms, but they drive me insane. I don't know if it's just the size of the bathrooms, or I'm constantly I do rectangle bathrooms a lot, and I don't know why. It kind of drives me up the wall, because I just feel like I make these long bathrooms. But then if I make a square bath, like, I don't know what's going on with me in The Sims lately. Ever since the new update and Infants came out, my brain is not the same. Infants are driving me insane. We thought the babies were bad. No, the infants are nothing compared to toddlers. No, the toddlers are nothing compared to the infants. Like, can I just like have the option to turn off infants? That would be great, because it's just not doing anything for my brain, just like in real life. Like, oh, I don't know how you guys are taking it, but I'm not taking it well. But I will say, like, once I get through with the house, I do end up changing the final wallpaper, but I think when I put it in the gallery, it is still just the original first one I did, because when I go in, I actually try to break up the walls. Like, I do a lot of open floor plans. It is my favorite. I don't like a lot of walls in real life, so when I build, I don't like a lot of walls when I build. But in this one specifically, I was trying to break up each of the rooms, but then after I got done, I was like, I don't like that. So I end up changing the dining room wallpaper to match the living room wallpaper, because the dining room has their own, the living room had their own, and then the kitchen always has its own. I can't mesh with the same thing, you know. But I change a lot of things in this house. Normally how I build, I don't know what color I want to have of things. So I will just grab the item I like, and then I will place everything down, and then I'll change the colors later. That's just how I do it. When people watch me, they're like, that doesn't match. I'm like, I know it doesn't match, because I'm not worried about it right now. So I go through and I just place everything down. The idea that I originally had is that I wanted to do green, but then as I started looking at items, and I ended up not liking this couch after all. I have this really big thing of always having the same color. It's either a black couch or a cream couch. I'm trying to incorporate like different colors because they give us the options for these like pieces of furniture, but I keep going to the same thing. So I'm trying my best to enjoy some things. I end up going with a lighter colored floor, which I hardly ever do, and that's me testing out the floor because I forgot I had those. Those things. I don't know what I did. Oh, I think I hit the wrong button when I was building. I don't. So many things happened during this build. I think because I was panicking because I was like, oh my god, there's like nothing here that I can use. So I feel for all of you that still use base game only. Because oh my god, you're missing so many. Even if you're just getting DLC just for the build buy, like it can make a big difference. And this is me looking up my I couldn't remember how to do the triangle tiles, so I had to look up on my cheat sheet on my Google document. So if you use my Google document, trust me, it still comes in handy for me because I forget what I'm doing. If I don't, you don't use it, you lose it. That's what I say. So here I am, start working on the dining room. Well, I never work on one room. I start working on one room and then I go back to another room, then come back to this room. It's a whole ordeal of situation things that I do. But I wanted to make this kind of, I guess you call it a dinette. I guess you would call it that. But I wanted to like try and mix it up. I don't use a lot of CC, but especially when you're doing something like a base game, or if you're just doing anything in general, like I want to make something that looks like it's a CC item, and you can do that with a lot of the items that are already in The Sims. You just have to, open up that third eye and use that imagination of what you can do to layer. If you don't care about your Sims actually being able to use it as well, because sometimes, just how things are intersecting, they can't use it. But that there, I'm not too worried about them being able to use that. So I just wanted to make something that. And now that we have light switches, I had to go through and put light switches all over the house. Because, they gave us the tiniest thing that we can't even click on to, like, turn the lights off and on. But it's a cosmetic, and, it just looks better when there's light switches around the house. Light switches and outlets, the things that we don't use. But we just need to physically see them to feel complete. Once we got those, I thought that was just funny. I was like, we only wanted these just to make it look like it's a real house. I'm like, that's all that they're there for. Like, they're really not that important. It's kind of like how we don't really need closets because our Sims don't need a closet. Or honestly, our Sims don't even need dressers. So it's crazy to me that like we have this, but we don't really need them. So, but we put them in our builds. Like, and it's funny to me. That's just my little tidbit of humor for myself to enjoy there. But as this is going along, I actually do end up really liking the layout of this, and I can see like a starter sim working here. With it being one bedroom, you could probably at least have one child or at least two adults living here, because you can have you could probably fit a baby crib in their bedroom. It should fit. Because being a mom, I've had times where, I lived in a one bedroom with my kids, or we had a 2-bedroom, and then it was just, what I mean? We had to make it work to the best of our ability, which is very doable. You just gotta have a lot of patience. But I feel like it could be a good starter home for, especially maybe someone out of college, or if you have a Sim that doesn't want to go live on campus and they want to live somewhere small in their own little house. I feel like this would be a nice little place. It's big enough to where you could still have friends over, hang out, have some fun. Because honestly, the living area is pretty spacious for what we have here. I did end up putting that cute little kids toy thing over there because I'm like, oh, there might be a kid here at one point. Maybe it's just visiting or something like that. But no, I had fun doing this, and I'm looking forward to doing another base game build. And now, like I said, now that I know what items I do and don't have, it could be a little bit easier. I will have to challenge myself to maybe do a 2-bedroom next time. Because yeah, this was just a 1 bedroom in a smaller lot. So if I can maneuver something with a 2 bedroom situation, that will be the ultimate test. Because like I said, I'm so used to using all of the DLC that I have. I probably will go to more DLC than I go to CC. That's just how I am. And this is where I was. I was trying to figure out what wallpaper, what paint, what things I wanted to do, and yeah, this was hard. I struggle with floors and I struggle with the wallpaper slash paint. I don't know why that is the hardest thing for me to do. Because I don't want things to be typical all the time, even though they sometimes end up being typical. And I just but then once I realized this wallpaper was, or I think the tiles for the kitchen, once I realized those were base game, I had to change the tiles to the floor, because I was like, oh crap, I don't have to use this like 1970s tile in my kitchen. I don't have to do it, so we're not going to do it. So I'm glad that ended up working out. I don't know what, I think I was trying to put a rug on the stairs, and that rug just would not work for me for whatever reason. I don't know, it didn't like me. And then when I ended up putting this stuff here, I was gonna actually clutter that desk, that's end table, and then I realized when I was done I actually didn't, but I was like, it's fine. I've kind of backed off on crazy cluttering like I used to. Like, I feel like I don't clutter a lot, but I feel like I still clutter, if that makes sense. Like, I used to like, oh, I want everything here, here, and there, but I've kind of brought it down a little bit. A lot of my kitchens haven't been as cluttered as what I've normally done, because there was one point in time I was cluttering the mess out of kitchens. It was kind of ridiculous. I just wanted all the things to be out there, but then when I look at my own kitchen, I don't like my kitchen being cluttered. So I was like, hey, Luna, you should probably not be a hypocrite. Your own kitchen isn't that cluttered. But yeah, I end up actually liking, you know, the space and the layout of the kitchen. I'm not sure I like the refrigerator being over there, like kind of like not in the kitchen, but like in the dining room. I don't know how I feel about that. Because I sat here and looked at it for a while, and I was like, where's this refrigerator gonna go? I'm like, because this is just weird. But I don't know. For some reason, it ended up there. I didn't know where else to put it, and I guess it works. It's fine. But it still kind of drives me insane that the refrigerator is technically in the dining room. But I've seen worst case houses that, you know, when I was going out, even looking at apartments when I was younger, of things that I'm like, why is that there? So it's one of those houses. It's one of those houses that you just gotta say why. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But I do put this bedroom. Not as crazy cluttered, but enough to where we can put a computer in there. So you can start off with this house with some basic things. With the computer, you have a full range kitchen. There's room to add other accessories, things to do for your workplace. You have bookshelves. So I feel like there's enough basic items here to start your sim out if you were starting for the day. And trying to put that bed somewhere where it wasn't trying to clip to the wall that's outside. That's why that thing was jumping. It was trying to clip to our makeshift flower bed that's outside of the house. So I was like, what is happening right now? I think we end up putting, I think there's some bookshelves on that side of the wall. I really don't like blank walls, even though like half the time we don't see them, but I like visually know that it's blank and it doesn't work for me. So I usually always have something on some wall. It is very rare for me to have a wall that has absolutely nothing on it. I don't know if that's just a me thing, or like, even looking at my house, I don't think there's any wall that doesn't have something on it. And I feel like it's also a scientific thing where if there's stuff to absorb the sound, it won't echo. And I think that's what it is. Like, I have to have something on a form of a wall somewhere, or it just looks naked and weird to me. So when you come to my house, there's something on every wall. And if there isn't, I'm probably working on it. Like, something is going to be there. But that's just me. But yeah, I hope you like this. You can find this build in the gallery. And like I said, I have a lot more builds that we've been doing. We have a build of a new water park that we did with Growing together. a little splash pad. Oh my god, Growing Together has some really amazing build buy items. Even if you're not getting it for the gameplay, there's a lot of DLCs I've gotten literally for the build buy and have not touched gameplay at all. But luckily, Growing Together, I have done both, so building and gameplay, and I'm actually really, really liking it. But yeah, you can get this in the gallery, and all my information is linked down below. Don't forget to check out any of the TikTok live streams. I try and stream every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are usually between 7:30, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time when I work. Saturdays, I try to shoot for like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock p.m. So I have 2 night streams and 1 day stream. And we mainly do the 100 baby challenge there. Now that we have infants, it's not fun, but we're still doing it. And then we have days where I let the community vote. We have community night where I play with a lot of you, play with my subscribers and things like that. So it's a lot of fun. And we have a wide range of simmers that come in there. So we have a lot of things that we're talking about and discussing and helping each other with. So it's very welcoming. And we love meeting new simmers. So as we have a couple minutes left of this build, like I said, check all the information down below, my Google Documents of cheat codes and my mods and CC that I use. I do end up taking that thermostat out because I didn't realize that that was not a base game item, and that made me very upset when I went to go put it in the gallery and it said that I had seasons. And I'm like, I don't have anything from the seasons. And I didn't realize the thermostat was a seasons thing, which I should have known, but I forget that you can actually use that thermostat. I was thinking it was just like the light switches and it was a base game thing, but I always forget when I add that, it's not just a deco item. You can actually use it. So that did come out, and then it made a base game. So I hope you like this. I hope you enjoy a different style of house. And if you're looking forward to more base game builds, just let me know down in the comments. Like I said, I'm going to be doing one where I pay attention to how many simoleons I use. So yeah, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day or night wherever you are. And this is Luna, Galaxy out.